Hello, this is the Havoc and welcome to my T49 gameplay review, which is also going to twin up as one of the additions on my OP Tanks playlist. Because the T49, is it an OP tank? Does the bear shit in the woods? Yes it is. It's a really OP tank and a really nice tank for that matter. So I really wanted to do a replay, gameplay review and a review on this tank because it will also twin up with something else I'm doing later on my YouTube channel. Okay, so first and foremost, I don't know if you know this, but I promised a lot of people on the forums that my next video is going to feature my beautiful face on a webcam. Unfortunately, I did get the webcam as promised. I got one of them, where is it? The Logitech C920 Pros. And despite all the reviews saying you can't get it working on Windows 8, I got it working, but only I've not figured out yet how to put a little mini face cam on whilst I'm doing the replay. The face cam that it shows me is about a quarter of the size of the screen, so it would be taking up too much of the screen to do a replay, and I'm guessing that you'd probably prefer to see the replay than my face. So until I can figure out how to do a mini face cam, I'm a little bit stuck there. If there's any techies among you out there watching this that could give me some advice, that would be great. Please PM me. So what I'm looking for, I use Bandicam recording software. I'm looking for a way to get the Logitech C920 Pro, just a mini little face cam up on Windows 8.1 whilst I'm doing a replay. So that's great. There's a little challenge for you. Go for it. Okay, the T49. Wow. I love this tank. I will be honest, perfectly honest, I do love it. I love playing it. It is great. And it's not because it's OP, I just love the tank. Now, I've got the camo on it, as you can see. There's the camo. Nice. Without the camo, it looks a bit like a diplomat's tank, to be honest. If you was like some sort of weird Russian diplomat and you're going to drive along, that's kind of how I visualize it. But it looks funky with the camo, so there you go. Now, why is this tank OP? It's OP in my opinion because it's got a really good view range. Okay, it's got a really stonking camo value, and when you put binoculars on it, it makes it really good because you can see things from a far away. Also, you can see that at the moment I've got binoculars, optics and a rammer. Now I know there'll be people out of you screaming and shouting, going, no, that's just not cricket. You've got to put a camo net on it. I don't really use it like that. I kinda, because I'm a light tanky type player, I do tend to push forward at points in it, and I have noticed with me a difference in the gameplay. However, unless you're particularly competent at getting forward in this, and you're particularly confident at circling around vehicles with a really poor turret traverse speed, I wouldn't recommend that. I'd go for the camo net, because the truth is, with the camo net, it's absolutely epic. And to be honest, I might even go back and have a few games with the camo net on it yet, because there's been some changes to the TV since I last played this tank, and they got nerfed a little bit, especially with regards to their camo after they're shooting. So I think that I'll revisit that sometime. Okay, so let's move on to the OP-ness of this tank. Okay, what makes it OP? The camo value. It's really fast, 61 kilometers an hour. So what that means is, although it isn't hugely maneuverable with regards to traverse speed and you know, the ground resistance, etc., it can't turn really quick like a light tank. It does mean you can relocate from one side of the map in a blink of an eye. So what you can do is be laying fire down on the east side of the map, relocate, lay it down on the west, laying it down in the center, moving backwards, moving forwards, and it keeps you completely combative throughout the map and the game. Now, what really makes it good as well is that you can peekaboo. It's good speed. You can nip up, stop, fire, nip back, nip up, stop, fire, nip back. It's got a 1.7 second aiming time, and it's got really respectable gun depression. So it's a perfect little peekaboo tank. So you can get hold down over a ridge, and on one of the replays I'm going to show you, I do that to good effect. What don't I like about this tank? I don't like the turret traverse speed, and I don't like the armor because it hasn't got any. You know, the camo value is the armor. And what else don't I like? Sometimes, to be honest, although it doesn't feel like it all the time, the gun can troll you a little bit with accuracy. It says 0.41. You do notice that. You do have a lot of shots that go off. So when you're watching the replays, don't think I'm a crap shot. You just get that with this tank. So there you go. What else don't I like? Is there anything else I don't like? Not really. No. Nothing at all, really. Okay, so let's go into the tank with a little bit more depth. It does 18.75 rounds per minute. Okay. And them rounds, I have a penetration of 128 millimeters. And that is doing an average damage of 115. The premium ammo is 177. You will notice me use premium ammo with this tank because for some of the higher tier tanks, you do need it to penetrate. Now, there will be those out who say, no, the T49, you can penetrate if you know the right spots. Very true, but sometimes you just haven't got the accuracy to hit them spots with this tank, not if you're far away. And also, sometimes the tanks are tilted in such a way that you can't hit the spots. So, sometimes to be sure, I use the premium ammo, and you'll see me do that in the game. So, unlike a lot of people that do replays, I haven't picked 2 masterful ace tanker games where you're going to go and see me own the whole map. I've put 2 games in, which I consider to be a standard sort of game you'll have in this tank. The sort of game, if you can consistently ship out, you'll be happy. Okay, so what's next? Crew skills. With this tank, you definitely want 6th sense, like with any tank in my opinion. 6th sense should come first. And then camo skills all around. So I've got 100% on 4, but not the commander. I'm working on the commander. I've got a snapshot to keep me a little bit more accurate on the move. I have smooth ride to keep me a little bit more accurate on the move. And I have situational awareness to give me a bit better view range. I also have safe storage just to give my ammo rack a little bit more protection. So that's me there. Right, so what's next? I think it's time to get into game and see what this can do. Thank you very much. Now you might be saying to yourself, why is the T49 OP? Okay, now unfortunately I don't often keep my replays for too long, and I ain't actually got any of my Uber games that I've done recently left on there. But the truth is, in this tank I've done an amazing feats. I've literally taken teams on that have had 6 or 7 left, just me and a couple of others, and the damage I've laid down has saved the match. You get ace tanker games in this tank more often than when you've got a crap team than when you've got a good one, because there's more damage for you. So invariably, if you're on a T49 and you're with a bad team, chill, because it's going to come, it's going to happen, and you just need to take your time a bit and let them come into your firing range. Now, this is going to be an example of peekabooing now. So as you can see, this is a good bot. If you approach this bush, it's a really good bush to get some early spots because they can't see you straight away. Now, temptation would have told me to shoot that Churchill then. Had I done that, I would have died because there's 3 other tanks and they would have got me. So now I've got myself a little bit into a hold down position. A split second later, I would have had another shot, but I would have been shot. So like I've said to you on the path to way to Unicum, take your time. It's the beginning of the match. There's absolutely no rush to lay them shots down just yet. Especially when you can pull back, be camoed up, and then move forward again. Okay, so let's have another little look. You can see the gun depression kicking in here. I didn't want to roll forward and shoot then because I know that if I'd have gone for that again, I would have been shot. They're looking my way. They know I'm there. I don't need to push forwards. So this tank now is showing its manoeuvrability, showing its gun depression. I pull back, no 6th sense, so I pull forwards again. Now I can shoot safely. I've got the camera of that bush and the camera of the bush between the 82. Can you see that? It's a nice little location. Pull back. Don't let him shoot me. I've done a bit there. I just need to carry on going. I'm annoying the crap out of that Churchill. He's their heaviest tank, and a little tier 5 TD is paying him a mischief. I've done a crit hit there. He got killed before I could take him out. Now the 82, I could actually see silhouette here, so I'm not blind firing. Okay, I'm going towards the polar. Now funny enough, this game is quite funny because the OP tank on the enemy side, even though they've got a T49, is the KB220. Those who don't know, you can't just buy that. It's a premium tank. You have to buy a special package or something. But it's very, very, very strong, and way strong above its tier. It's not got a fantastic gun, although it's not terrible. that his armour is super OP. So be careful of that tank. Now I'm ignoring him. He knows I'm there. I'm ignoring him because he's just going to mess me up. I'll distract him. Right now I'm distracting him. I've just lit up the tank destroyer. So I've circled back round. But right now they're all thinking about me. Enemy T49. My job to kill this guy. My job to make sure he is dead. Because he can do my team a lot of damage. I hit him, track him, and my team finishes him off. Job done. Now it's time to go back for this KV-220.
Track hit. Target acquired. We've lost some ammo, but at least it didn't explode.
You can see. Hit him nicely in the side then. Premium ammo. No damage. No, I didn't realise I'd been ammo racked here.
Enemy armor is hit.
If I'd have carried on going forwards then I would have been killed. I was aware of the tank destroyer and aware that if I'd carried on going forward he'd have a shot on me. I'm thinking he's alone now. So what I want to do is I want to flank him. So I pull back straight.
Where'd they go?
Now he knows I'm there, but I want to get a flank. So I'm using the speed now to relocate, not completely, but slightly, because I'm hoping to, with my fast reload and DPM, to finish him off. Now he hadn't. I was hoping he would approach the top so I could get around the back of him. He didn't. He was wise. He pulled back.
We're immobilized. Target unlocked.
Now I paused that there.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
I paused that there. I didn't quite get it in time. You'll see that I aimed in then, and I aimed in to the front of his turret on the cheeks, and that's a weak point on the KV-220. So as you look at the barrels, at either side there's that little triangular cheek, and you will penetrate through there. So when you're against one of them in the future and they're staring right at you, fear not, just shoot him straight in the cheeks. Now he's actually calling me a gay noob, which I thought was really funny at the time. And I decided to write a comment back to him about him being the one in the KV-220. But obviously he's just paid real money for that tank, and he was hoping to have a really good game. And I don't think he probably had the game he wanted to, so he's a bit mad, and I'm okay with that. That's cool. I gave him a bloody nose, and now he's given me a piece of his mind. That's fine. That's cool. That's it. Anyway, moving on. So as you can see now, the T49, you don't always have it your own way with the T49. You don't. And this is where the 0.4 dispersion comes in.
Critical hit.
I didn't think I was going to penetrate him anyway, because his armor on them things are a bitch. Missed the T25.
Enemy is hit. Penetration.
But as you can see, so with this game, got a steady,
Penetration.
I think 1400. Yeah,
Penetration.
just under 1500 damage. So I didn't work too hard for that. I suppose I did work on the peekaboo and was quite reserved then. And from there, just a little bit of patience. The KV-220 could have done me a mischief. I didn't have the support on my team on my side there. I had expected him to come up the hill, and I was expecting to cut straight round him behind him and being able to circle around him and use the skill I've got in circling vehicles to kill him. He was wise. He pulled back, enabling him to get 2 shots on me. I do believe that probably I would have killed him anyway, because I was reaching the peak of the hill where I could go down again. But I didn't need to because my team were there supporting me, and they were quick to pick up the mark there. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the second match. This is actually going to be a ace tanker game, but it didn't feel like it. I was surprised that I got the ace tanker after this game, so I'll move on to that now. So here we are on Insk, and this is a battle where we had a 30, and this is probably why you shouldn't always pay attention to XVM. You can see their team is better than ours. Okay, we've got a lot of reds and oranges, and we've got a lot of people with a low percentage win rate, and that's probably what that's calculated on, you know, because a lot of them are people on our side are not used to winning. So I decided that I was going to be a bit patient here, wait at the back and protect the arty. I've got 3 arty here, they could turn the battle, and I know there's some fast moving tanks on their side, so I was half expecting a push down to the open flank. But I don't know if you know this, but at the beginning, if you've got a tank with a good view range and a nice accurate gun, just push forwards to that railway track and have a little look. Because I do that with this tank, I do it with my VK801, 2801, sorry. And the amount of times I've just one-shot an arty straight away. I've just gone up there with my VK, spotted, or knocked a tank for 370 damage in the VK. With the T49, you often see things coming across and you can get 1 or 2 shots in. I could have fired then because I saw that thing collapse, but I didn't want to give my position away. That yielded no fruit, so I just pushed on to that next bit to see if I could see another one. Let the binos kick in, you can see that change on the map. Now straight away I'm looking at this map, I can see, you know, our team's gone left, but that's just me, the 3 RT and the tank destroyer at the back now, so I'm not thinking I'm going to go anywhere at the moment. Okay, certainly not up the front. I'm just going to hang here, because if that light comes round, you know, it's going to own our artilleries. And you know, our arties, you can see that they're moving off, and the tank destroyer has decided that, you know, he's going to move. Here comes the Hellcat. I wanted to see if I could. I was going up there not to invade, but to see if I could see some arty right at the back of the screen. So obviously I've got a Hellcat here. He's the next tank up from me. You progress to the Hellcat after the T49, and the Hellcat's renowned as a very strong tier 6 tank.
Enemy armor is damaged.
My DPM makes pretty short work from him. Admittedly, he's quite a poor player, so thank you for the damage there, Raven.
Enemy armor is damaged.
And here's the Stewart. You know,
Enemy is hit.
he's not really paying attention. He's focused on the arty. He isn't going to get the kill. Unfortunately, he spotted the arty long enough for the others to get the kill. Thank God for us, the birch gun had enough sense to get up the other side of the map. So now I can see that our team's done quite well. Okay, although I've killed one tank, but done a lot of damage to the other one, so we've contributed very well. Now I'm thinking it's my turn to go arty hunting. Now you'll see me crashing into things. I can be guilty of being quite poor at driving sometimes. I'm quite a lazy driver, you know. I'll be looking at the mini-map and just half steering. I used to be able to blame it on my low frame rate, but since I got a new computer I can't, so I just hold my hands up, you know. I'm just like that old woman. I know in England there was this woman, there was like a reality TV show of her doing driving lessons, and she would literally be lethal. She'd crash into everything. I'm the World of Tanks equivalent to that lady. Which is amazing considering I'm such a good light tank player.
Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy is hit.
Oh.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
Now you'll notice me using, in my light tanks and mediums and this, I use auto aim quite a lot. Now if you know you can definitely penetrate
Ready to fire.
the tank you're
Enemy
using,
armor is damaged.
especially if you're going to stay on the move whilst you're firing, auto aim's not a bad idea. With the T49, you have to do a certain thing because of the turret's traverse speed being so crap. When you just before you fire, you have to stop pressing forward and steer towards what you're shooting, and it will quickly pull it round and you can fire. I will cover that in one of my videos, Pathway to Unicum, because when I started playing this, I was just like, oh, auto aims for noobs, and to a certain degree it is if you're just gonna use it for, you know, just sniping and things like that. But if you're shooting tanks on the move, it can be really useful, especially if you need to negotiate buildings, other tanks. You know, you can just keep it on there. But now I didn't have to worry about aiming that in. All I need to do is get that on.
We didn't even scratch them. Gotcha.
Because sometimes when there's rocks and buildings for you to look at and you're trying to cursor onto them tanks, it can be really difficult, I can tell you now. I don't know if you noticed then, but I twisted my tank to get that on. It was the turret traverse speed was off. I steered into the tank to get it on and then got the shot. So here you go. I didn't feel like this was an ace tanker game when I played this. I got 4 kills. I didn't kill the KV1S unfortunately, although I did lay some shots down on him. And this is a typical sort of game you can have in this tank. Now, incidentally, I've had over 2,000 damage in the T49 before I've not got an ace tank. I think it's down to who's played the tank that week and how people have played. I think this week probably people have played bad with the T49, so that took me up into the top 99%.
That one bounced.
But
Penetration.
there you go, as you can see, playing it into the KV1S.
Enemy armor is
Giving me
damaged.
1900 damage, so nearly 2000 damage. I wanted the 2000,
Critical hit.
but I didn't get it. The KV1 finished him off. But there you go. So that's what you're looking to do with this tank. Be a bit patient, peep in and out, keep on the move. You can really troll people that have the map mod with this tank. So when you get spotted, you know that they're gonna know that you're in a certain area because it's gonna stay up on the map. So you can shift from one area to another, knowing that they're going to be moving up the map, thinking you're, say, for example, in B2, you can move to B6, and then they come up looking all left, and you can engage them from the right. So when you're with fast tanks, be mindful of that. Not just a T49, light tanks or fast-moving mediums. Okay, so that's the end of the video gameplay. Off to the post-game stats.
Now, before we go on to the post-game stats, I wanted to show you this website. It is called wotinfo.net, and on this website you can calculate and identify your vehicle's camera rating and their view range based on their skills and what you've got fitted. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the T49 put in up here. We're going to give it a camo net. We're going to give it some vehicle camo. We're going to give it some coated optics. No, it won't. We'll give it some binos. Most people run with binos. We'll give it. I'm going to give it no recon skill because a lot of people have 6th sense and camo. And I'll give it situational awareness up to 100%. And we'll have a 100% camo crew on there as well. Okay? Okay, here we go. Interesting thing. Please excuse me, I've got something stuck in my throat at the moment. Just had dinner. Okay, here we go. So what this will do, it will tell you that your view range is 451.94 meters. Now, obviously, the max you can see on the screen, you can spot, is 445, but it does take into consideration camo values. So there you go. So binos off 361, binos on 451. There we go. Interestingly enough, situational awareness at 100% gives you about 15 meters. It doesn't sound much, but it is a lot. It is a lot in the game. So anyway, here we go. So what we can do here is we can look at this and we can put another tank in down here and see how close he would have to be to spot me. So for this example, I'm going to use a Type 64 because it's an enemy tier 6 tank, quite possibly going to be a tank that could be out there spotting you. It's got a good view range. It was only 10 meters short of a tier 10 view range. And we're going to say that this tank's got coated optics because they more often not do. And this is a premium tank, so the crews are normally quite good. So we're going to give it 100% recon. And we're going to give it 100% view range. Situational awareness. It's going to have a camo, vehicle camo. He's going to have camo to 100. Now, you can't have improved ventals on that. But let's just say he has got brothers in arms. Okay, here we go. That's cool. What does that mean? Okay, so if that Type 64 is roaming around the map, actively scouting, looking for you, it means he will spot you when he's 230 meters away. But if you're firing, he'll see you 400 meters away. If you're not firing, you're just moving, he will see you when you're 354 meters away. Now, when you are looking out for him, if he's stationary, you'll see him at 326. Okay, you'll see him if he's moving at the same range because scouts don't have that penalty on moving, and you will see him when he's shooting at 420. Okay, right. Now let's add some other factors in here. Let's just say you're sat in a dense bush. Wow. So T49, quite oftenly you do find a dense bush to sit in. What that now means is if you're stationary, he has to be 24 meters away from you to stop you, to spot you. Now we all know that you can be proxy spotted at 50 meters, so that doesn't really come into effect. So basically, if you're sat in a bush with a max camo crew, with a camo net and a T49, you literally have to be proxy spotted to be spotted. Okay, that's pretty insane. Now, you're not going to be moving about in a bush, so I wouldn't look at that moving one. Not unless you've got some sort of hack where you can keep a dense bush on your tank. But a really good one here is this shooting. What is this saying now is something has to be within 196 meters of you to spot you if you're shooting from that bush. Now that's pretty uber, and that's what makes this tank OP, because you now know from watching this video that as long as there's no one else inside 200 meters of you, you can shoot a tank safely, pretty much. Okay. Please excuse my little boy in the background there. He's having a bit of a tantrum because he's trying to play the laptop, and he's 40 months old, and he hasn't figured out how to do keys properly yet, so he still tries to hit it with his toy hammer, and he's becoming a bit emotional. Bless him. Nothing a boob won't sort out. Anyway, okay, so what I'm saying is, if you're sat in that bush in a T49 and you've got a scout tank 200 meters, 220 meters away from you, you can shoot him without being spotted. Now, things you need to take in consideration: are there any other tanks likely to be closer than him? Okay, if he's a scout tank, the chances are he's going to be set forwards. So you might get away with it. But before you do shoot, just have a think. Look at the enemy team. Look what tanks they have. Which one of them is likely to be closer than that tank? If the answer is none of them, lay some fire down range and shoot from safety. Okay. If we look at, if we say that this Type 64 has a camo net and he has binoculars, okay, now he will still only see you if you're 280 meters away. So if you're in a bush and you're thinking you can see a target, it's like 300-400 meters away, you think, I really want to put some fire down them. If you're certain that there will be no tanks closest 220 meters away from you, you can still shoot safely. And this website is brilliant for that. So you need to look at your tanks, your tank destroyers that you play. If you don't know about this website, come on here. Always give the one you're playing against the benefit of the doubt. So we could say that's got improved ventilation even though you can't use it. So my general rule of thumb is if they're 260 plus, I tend to go for it. Let's change this to a tank I play a lot. So the VK2801. Just to give you an idea of how it all works. .1. Okay, it's not found that. Okay, VK 2801 with the derp. Okay, all the same. I have recon to 100 on my VK. I run with coated optics, not binoculars. I have vents, and I have brothers in arms. So with my VK, I have a view range of 473. Now, we can see here that with my VK, if I'm sure that no one sat in a bush, okay, with a binocular, as long as they're 255, they won't see me. Now, if there's no bushes, and I don't have binoculars, I can shoot from 400 away. But how does that work then? If the enemy's, that's right. There we go. Sorry. You'll spot him if he's shooting there. That's it. If there's no bush, he'll spot me at 400. That's right. If there's a dense bush, as long as I'm over 250, I should be fine. Anyway, I don't want to get into another tank because this is the T49 review. So let's move on to the post-game stats. So this is the results of the Ace Tanker Ents match with the T49. As you can see, it was an Ace Tanker game, even though it didn't feel like it during the game. And afterwards, I was quite surprised to see it was an Ace Tanker. I done good damage in that game, not terrible damage. I received 37,000 credits and 5,277 experience because it's a ×3 event. As you can see, I had a 1900 damage in that game, which is quite respectable for a T5 tank destroyer. I got 4 kills, yielding me 1,173 base experience. Looking at that screen, you can see that the other enemy team, the top guys of their team done better than the top guys of ours, but more players in our team done damage than players in theirs. There was 4 players in their team that did no damage whatsoever, including a platoon of T14s. Now, the reason we won was simple, really. They had a failed flanking maneuver, and then we had a successful one, and that overwhelmed them and enabled us to kill them. So that was a result. Excuse me. As you can see, the T49 is really good at sitting back and sniping. It's really good at pushing to different places in the map quickly. So in that map, I started on RE defense. I tried to get a few early spots in any tanks moving across, or a spot on the RT. When the attack come on the RT, I defended it well. I overcame that attack. Then I made my way up the right hand flank, the eastern flank, and took on the enemy RT. Made my way across the top of the map, taking on a defending tank destroyer and another piece of RT, and then down the east side of the map to come in behind the KV-1S, who was their best player. Now, there's not many tanks you can do that in. Not that quick. So you can sit back, but have the confidence to know that you can get to the part of the battlefield where it matters quickly. And in the T49 you can. It's really good. Detailed report. Doesn't really give us much more of a picture, but as you can see, I fired 28 shots, I hit with 23 and I penetrated with 20. I spotted 3 enemy vehicles, I damaged 7 and I destroyed 4. Now I did make just under 38,000 credits, but after my resupply of premium ammunition, I'm left with 14. So I'm happy with that. So that concludes my T49 OP tank review. And I'll see you next time.